Hi, welcome to Isla Movement, where mindful movement meets healing. My name is Verónica Isla, and I'm going to be guiding you to a practice dedicated for deepen into your breath and increase your breathing capacity. We're going to do some standing exercise, and you will only be needing a block. So let's start sitting down on the floor. For those that need to be seated on a chair, just make sure your feet are on the floor and your spine is lengthened as straight as possible. You are also welcome to sit on the block and just found whatever seated position feels best for your body and feels as safe as possible for you to breathe, for you to connect with your breath. So start with long, deep breaths, long inhalations and long exhalations. We're going to place our hands over our ribs, so your fingers pointing down, please. And just try to reach for lateral ribs and the lower part of your ribs, also fingers facing towards the spine as well. So you can use the heel of your hand to give a little press into the ribs and feel how you can inhale. How you can exhale. And with your next inhalation, how the ribs expand to the sides. Just please don't force it. You're just noticing the degree of depth that you have on that inhalation. The same thing for exhalation. Noticing how far you can go, how slow the exhalation is. And one last time, please. Inhale. How they expand to the sides, how deep this inhalation can go. And then same thing, how slow you can control that exhalation. Just noticing, don't really worry about changing that breath. So one last round in silence. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. Very good. We're just going to now circle a bit our arms. Very easy movements with the arms reaching to the sides. And then just switch direction backwards. There you go. Reaching to either side. If you want to stay on one side and reach just a little bit more, and then to the other side as well. Noticing places on your waist that are tighter or that are softer. Very well. You can either stay in this seated position or you can go into kneeling pose. So in this kneeling pose, you can press your hips or seat your hips over your heels, or you can place a block this way. If you don't have a block, you can use a blanket, roll it in a way that gets very firm, very tight, and just place it underneath your buttocks so you don't have that much pressure on your knees. Long deep breath in and exhale, long deep breath out. So we're gonna grab opposite elbows and taking our arms all the way up, feeling that we can extend our spine like a little arch on the lower back, and then taking the arms back to the front of our belly and rounding the spine, tucking the chin in. Again, lifting your arms in this kind of interlock posture, extending here, feeling like a little arch on the lower back, and exhale. So in case you feel this grasp in your arms is too much, you can also take opposite wrists. Inhale. This is going to soften the posture. Remember, nothing here is mandatory. You can explore the degree of this bind that you can have, and exhale. Now we're just going to switch the hand or the arm that was in front. Just take it to the back, and let's keep on going. Inhale as we extend, little arch on the lower back. Your coccyx is pointing backwards, opening the chest. Exhale, rounding the spine, navel in, chin to chest, relaxing the neck here. Remember that this practice are not that fast. It has a softened pace that we use to slow down our heartbeat, our thoughts, or the way our thoughts are moving all around. So we want to inhale deeply and move slow, kind of slowing down the pace of just the whole dynamic of our day, our whole rhythm. Exhale, rounding, relaxing the neck, and one last round. Inhale, opening the chest, going all the way up. Just a little bit more, feeling that you can widen up the ribs, expanding the ribs to the sides with the inhalation. And exhale. Focus on your navel, tuck it in, relaxing the neck down, feeling how the shoulders are softening. These both exercises, you can do them also on the chair if you don't have access to this seated pose on the floor. So we're going to have our block aside, please. Again, you can be seated on a chair or you can be seated on the floor as so. And straighten both legs, please, and just the right knee bended. And we're just going to give a little press to that leg towards our ribs. Remember to engage the left leg. And this is one option, and you can stay here. If pressing or squeezing the knees too much, you can just then grab the shin bone and lengthen the spine, and focusing here better on the back. We're going to prioritize our back over legs, over arms. This is one pose, one option. This is a second option, lengthening the spine. And for the third option, we're going to grab the hamstrings, same thing, interlocking the fingers, and we're just going to give a little lift up and down to our leg. We don't have to stretch here. Don't focus on stretching the leg, just on engaging the knee joint, feeling some lubrication on that joint. Very good. Stop the movement and circling the ankle. Inhale deeply, lengthen your spine as well, and exhale. Let's switch sides. Remember, first pose here with the feet on the ground, lengthening. Second posture here, squeezing the thigh into the ribs as close as possible, lengthening the spine in both cases, pressing the right leg down to anchor ourselves as we can lengthen more. And now if you're ready, you can start from here, from option 1, and let's give a little motion here. Remember, you can start into kind of a middle ground here, or you can maybe lift a bit more, but it's not necessary to go into stretches this soon. Inhale and exhale, focusing on the breath. Prioritize your spine. Very good. Inhale here and exhale. Let's just flip over. And the same thing, we're going to round the spine, pressing the shoulders down. Exhale fully, fully, fully. Focus here on squeezing the air out as you round your spine. Press with your hands down. Create like a sort of bowl or like an umbrella kind of shape with your torso. And then inhale, and let's go into this very famous cow posture, redirecting or pointing our coccyx all the way up. We're going to stay here, feeling that we can open the chest a bit more, relaxing the lower back. Again, drawing the coccyx up, pressing shoulders down, and widening out and amplifying, expanding the upper chest, the clavicles. And exhale, rounding the spine. Again, squeezing the air out more and more and more. We want to focus on not breathing that fast, not breathing that short, but we want to have long, deep breaths. And we want to have a longer pace in between our breathings. So let's go into standing, one foot forward, please, and the second as well. And we're gonna stay here just for a small moment, a short moment here. Tucking the coccyx in, allowing the blood flow to catch up. And let's go all the way into standing. From standing, let's just turn around in the way that you can see the camera, that you can see the screen of your computer, your TV. So we're going to separate our feet wider than hip distance. Inhale here, just make sure we're going to play with our feet, with the way we're placing our feet. So let's start with the hands on the hips, and your toes are going to point forward. Inhale here, taking the chest up. Again, your intention here is to widen up the breath, to increase your breathing capacity. And exhale, little bend on your knees, and we're going to lean forward. The torso wants to point towards the floor. And again, inhale all the way up. And exhale, lean forward 90 degrees. An angle between your legs and the torso. Chest pointing the floor. Inhale all the way up, and exhale, your toes pointing out, heels pointing in. And we're going to do a cactus arms here, just bending the elbows and bending the knees as well. And just taking the elbows back and back and back. Again, feeling that the torso container, the rib cage, the rib container is becoming wider and bigger. Inhale, gaze up. Exhale, hands to the hips, toes pointing forward. Inhale, chest up, coccyx down. Exhale, 90 degrees, chest pointing to the floor. And again, let's repeat. Inhale all the way up, heels in, toes out, bending the knees, cactus arms. Inhale, draw your elbows to the back, open the chest, gaze up. Expanding the collarbones. Exhale, the initial pose, which is hands on hips and toes pointing forward. Initial pose here. Inhale, chest up. Exhale, 90 degrees. In this 90 degrees, try to stretch a bit more the legs, pressing the knees backwards. Initial pose, inhale. Exhale, toes pointing out. Inhale, cactus arms, elbows going back and back. Stay here for another deep breath in. Inhaling deeply. Exhale, initial pose. Inhale, chest up, toes forward. Exhale, down, 90 degrees. Straightening the legs as much as possible. Those that feel that can lower the torso a bit more, you're welcome to do so. But a 90 degrees is a very good place to start. Inhale. Let's do two more rounds. Toes out, cactus arms. Inhale, stay here in the inhalation, feeling that the whole body is giving the expression of extending, of amplifying, of increasing. Exhale, initial pose, toes forward. Inhale, chest up. Exhale, 90 degrees. We're going to do more a focus on our coccyx or our tailbone. Bending knees, elbows. Now coccyx in. Focus on the inhalation. Focus on how to increase the size of the rib cage to the sides. Bigger and bigger. Wider and wider. Very good. Coccyx in. Exhale, hands to the hips. Toes forward. Inhale, now coccyx down. Tailbone points down. Chest up, inhale. And exhale, 90 degrees again. Keep pointing the toes forward. Now coccyx a bit pointing to the back. Erasing the arch on the lower back. Navel in. Here, remember, you can micro bend your knees. For those that are ready to have the hands on the floor is okay. If not, keep with your hands on the hips. And one last round. Initial pose, inhale. Exhale. Toes out. Inhale. Amplifying, expanding our rib cage. Open the chest. Lower a bit the hip if that is accessible to you. Open the fingers wide open. Open the eyes. Everything is expressing that we are increasing the space where we breathe. And exhale, initial pose. Very good. Okay, inhale here. Have your hands in the center of your body. You can have one hand on the belly and one hand on the chest. Catch the breath. Recover your breath. Restore the feelings, the emotions, all the movements that we are perceiving in the body. Again, toes pointing out, hands over the thighs. And we're just going to bring one shoulder in, gaze backwards, please. Inhale up, center, and exhale, one shoulder. Switch. Gazing backwards. And inhale. Come all the way to the center. And with your toes and heels, just come back all the way to the center. Feet together, please. And focus on restoring the breath. Okay, so let's just go and separate our feet wider than hip distance. Maybe you want to explore if you can separate a bit more the feet. Again, hands on your hips, and we're going to turn to the right side. So the right foot is pointing towards the front of your mat, and we're just going to bend here that right knee. So we're not going to focus a lot on this posture, this warrior alignment. So we want to rasp or interlace our fingers behind our back, or you can grab opposite wrists or grab opposite elbows. And again, we want to show and draw the chest forward and up, coccyx in. And there is where our attention wants to be. Coccyx in, chest up. So it doesn't matter how the shape of this warrior is looking like. We just want to have the right toes pointing forward, the right knee bending down as much as possible, and the other leg completely straightened with the toes pointing to the center of your room. Now, that's done. Focus from the waist up. Lift your chest up. Again, expanding your collarbones to the sides. And you can change the way your arms are placed by maybe also interlacing either fingers. If that's too much, just grab opposite wrists or opposite elbows. Expanding again and again. Inhale, gaze up. And exhale, release your arms on your hips. And let's come back to the initial pose, which is toes pointing forward. Exhale. Let's switch to the other side. So left toes are pointing the back side of my mat, of your mat. Bend your knee. Left knee is bent. That's it. Don't worry too much about that. The other leg didn't move. If you feel you can separate, that's okay. Walk your left leg forward. It's fine. And now focus from your hip up. You want to feel that the shoulders are over your hips. Same thing, you're interlacing fingers, opposite wrists, or grabbing opposite elbows behind you. Either, it's fine. In any case, we are expanding the chest. Gaze up, please. Open your eyes and visualize that the lungs are getting wider, that the ribs are expanding more to the sides, that whole rib container, the ribs have more space to move to the sides. Some of you find this painful, very uncomfortable, feeling sometimes some distress. So that is also why we have our legs this way, because our legs are going to start to kind of burn, to feel very engaged, everything very intense on the legs. And it's kind of taking the attention somewhere else than the ribs. Okay, 2 more rounds. Inhale, gaze up. Inhale, inhale. Focus on increasing the capacity. Exhale. And 1 last round. Inhale. Focus on the chest, on the ribs. It can be intense, but you're only breathing. That's what you can tell to yourself. We're only breathing. Initial pose, hands to the hips, toes pointing to the center of your room. Very well. And again, with your toes and your heels, come back to the center. Let's feel some regulation, stabilization, hands in the center of your body. Stay there. Couple of breaths. Very good. Let's start to go to the floor again. don't do it too complicated, just the way you can go and sit back again on the floor. It's fine if it takes more than one movement. If you have to use your hands more, it's totally fine. So again, we're going to look for a seated pose. You can stay on the floor and sit on the floor, but I find it very easy on my body. It gives me a lot of ease to sit on a block. So just place your block to the lowest height and relax the legs down. That's the most important. Now we're just going to do another check-in with that breath and see if something changed. So we're going to place fingertips together as so. Your palms are towards your body. And we're just going to imagine if you can actually take the breath all the way down to the lower belly and breathe with the lower belly. Now move your hands to the navel and breathe with the middle belly. And then take your hands to the chest and feel that you can breathe with the chest. Now just imagine that you're taking the breath all the way up. So press the navel in so you can breathe with the upper body, with the shoulder girdle. There you go. With the throat, you can feel the air passing through the throat. Just imagine, just visualize that you can. And lastly, inhale, you're breathing with all the body. So take your hands to the sides. Just imagine you're breathing in the bubble. This sphere of breath expands wider. And then we're going to take everything back to the initial lower belly. Very good. We're going to repeat this twice. So breathe with the lower belly. Exhale. With the navel, inhale forward. Exhale in. With the chest, press the navel in. So you can breathe with the chest. Now clavicles or throat, navel in. Breathing with the upper body. Exhale. And finally, full body breath. Inhale. Expanding this great capacity that it's there waiting for us. Exhale and all the way down. Okay, so you can repeat that breath on faces as I just did, or we're gonna go and do one inhalation that goes from the bottom all the way to the big sphere, to the bubble, and then one exhalation that goes all the way down. So we're going to repeat this for 3 times. Remember, you can do faces and take your own pace. It's all right. We're going to meet in the same place at the end. So let's start on the bottom and let's inhale from the bottom, chest, clavicles, throat. Inhale with all your body. Exhale slowly from the top. Shoulders down, navel in, pelvic floor up. And again, inhale, belly, chest, shoulder blades, expansion fully. And exhale from the top, shoulders down, navel in, pelvic floor up. Last round, inhale, more, full expansion, hold a little bit, and exhale, slowly, no rush, no hurry, all the way down, navel in, and pelvic floor up. Little last squeeze. And exhale, hands down on the legs. We're going to wrap up the practice with your hands on the chest, just acknowledging your lungs, your chest, your heart, all those organs, muscles, tendons, our joints, tissues, everything you use to breathe. We're just going to give a little acknowledge that we're so grateful to be taking each inhalation and each exhalation. So thank you very much for joining me today in this practice. I'll see you next time, and thank you.